Welcome back. Now, before we go ahead with this particular video, I want you to click on the link above and check out the review I have for Heavy Rouge Eau de Toilette, and it might be helpful before you watch the rest of this video. So I'll wait while you watch that and then you can come back. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. It was a few years ago. I look a bit younger and my nose has developed a lot. So today's video, I'm going to be talking about my first impressions of a new Guerlain that's been only recently released, and it is the new Heavy Rouge Prive. Last week I did a live stream with my friend Koz, and he sent me a few samples to actually blind sniff, and one of them was that particular perfume, and it was my favorite of the samples that he did send me. Now, I thought that it would be interesting to do a little bit of, this is not a review of that perfume, it's more further impressions I have of it. And in particular, it would be interesting to do a comparison, but there are a couple of things to point out first. Now, the new Rouge Prive is an eau de parfum concentration, and my bottle of Heavy Rouge, as you can see, is in this Listerine style bottle. It's an eau de toilette, and I have not smelled the eau de parfum version of Heavy Rouge. Okay, so that's the comparison I'm going to do. So I must admit that smelling this a couple more times, I have, really enjoyed it. And I guess I want to explore a little bit whether it would be redundant to have both perfumes in your collection, or they're or they're different enough to have both of them. So on my right hand, I have Rouge Prive, and this has been drying down for a few hours now. And similarly, on my left hand, I have my Heavy Rouge Eau de Toilette. What I'm going to do is compare the openings, let them dry down for a little bit, and then talk about the deep dry down. So I am going to do a couple of sprays of the Rouge Prive on this arm, and one nice full spray of the EDT on this arm, just a little bit more than one. So I've probably got more juice on the left arm. So let's talk about what I smell in the top. Immediately with the Rouge Prive, I get the citruses, and there is definitely a little bit of iris coming through with them. On the EDT, the citruses dominate a little bit more than they do in the Rouge Prive. And I also find that the EDT is more of a lemon citrus. I've always described the lemon in Heavy Rouge as more of a sort of candied lemon, if you like. Whereas in the Rouge Prive, the citruses are a little bit more compressed and dampened down, and it smells a bit more like bergamot, and probably a sweeter citrus, or a less sour citrus than a lemon. So it's probably more bergamot, probably a little bit more orange. So I think the openings of either perfumes, of these perfumes, are quite different. But it's funny because if you're familiar with Heavy Rouge, you smell the Rouge Prive, and it's unmistakable that it's definitely related to the original, and therefore easy to identify it as a flanker. But as I said, different. The main differences I smell in the middle is that this original it gets a little bit more floral in the mid notes. So I get a hint of rose in this one, whereas the Rouge Prive is actually more a... The florals that come out, I don't pick up a hell of a lot of rose, but it's interesting because I get that iris that starts in the opening, and it sort of starts to get a little bit brighter, and I think it's a white floral. I'm not sure. I haven't memorized the notes, but I'm sure it's something like probably orange blossom, a little bit of neroli. And it's definitely toned down in terms of the way it reacts off my skin, and it gets a little bit more leathery. So this mid is almost like a suede leather combination, whereas the mid in the original Habit Rouge is a sweeter rose, vanilla rose. Now, where they are most similar, and I only realised this when both were drying down, is when it reaches the base notes. Now, they are slightly different. The original Abbey Rouge is dominated by vanilla notes or sweeter resins in the base, whereas the main thing that sticks around through the whole development of the Rouge Prive flanker is this iris note that runs through it, this kind of very light, suede leather, and it's a little bit earthier in the dry down. And if I had to describe it, the dry down is more muted in a way, and I don't mean in that it's softer projection or the original is louder. It's just, I guess, refined is a good word to use. Everything just feels a little bit more compressed and compact with the Rouge Prive. It has those. I hate to use this description, but the Rouge Prive feels like quite a modernized version of the original Abbey Rouge. Now, I understand that the Abbey Rouge Eau de Parfum version might be a little bit more leathery than the Eau de Toilette, so it would be interesting to smell that and compare it to Rouge Prive. But overall, the way it behaves on the skin, this somehow feels a little bit more diffusive and expansive when you're smelling it. It's the type of perfume that wafts around you during the day when you're wearing it. You catch whiffs of different things during the day, whereas Rouge Prive is a bit more behaved and consistent. It smells great, but it feels like you're in control of this scent, whereas the original Abbey Rouge kind of wears you a little bit. It's a little bit extroverted, and Rouge Prive is a little bit introverted, if you like that metaphor. So I actually think that it is different enough. It's a kind of different mood, but unmistakably Abbey Rouge DNA in the new Rouge Prive. So I think that they are both worth having, to the extent that I've actually now ordered a bottle and it's on its way to me. So I do really, really like this. It's been a long time since I've kind of made an impulse purchase like this, because I've only worn this a few times, so it's unlike my regular process of testing and deciding to buy a new bottle. maybe when I wear both of them on a regular basis is when I will know whether I still want to keep both of them or pick one over the other. But in the end, I think definitely it's a very, very good flanker of Abbey Rouge. I haven't really enjoyed the one or two flankers I have tried, like the dress code flankers. They didn't feel like a flanker of Abbey Rouge to me. I think I've tried Abbey Rouge Low as well, and I wasn't that fussed by that. But Rouge Prive, I'm pretty excited by. So just remembering in terms of performance, the longevity of each is actually very similar. So I detect them equally as much on my skin way into the dry down. But the Rouge Prive, and it's probably to do with the fact that it's an eau de parfum, doesn't quite have the projection of the original Abbey Rouge eau de toilette. So that's something to consider if you like your perfumes to have a little bit more projection and possibly some sillage. Don't expect Rouge Prive eau de parfum to outperform the original Abbey Rouge eau de toilette. But I really do enjoy it. I really, for someone who's not a fan in general of iris and orris notes, the way it's used in this composition, and it ties the whole pyramid together beautifully. It's the spine of this perfume, whereas the Abbey Rouge eau de toilette is kind of a little bit unpredictable, doing its own thing. And to use a sound engineering metaphor, Abbey Rouge Prive has a lot of compression added to it, so everything is leveled out. You can still smell the different things as it develops, but everything is very, very even. Whereas eau de toilette, the original, it's unmistakable smack in the face of lemon in the beginning, then the floral heart, ending up with that beautiful diffusive vanilla in the base that only Abbey Rouge can do. But I definitely recommend, if you are a fan of this, to try and sample the new Rouge Prive. I'm not sure what its availability is going to be like in terms of whether it's a limited release and only sold in certain places. I had to order my bottle all the way from France, and hopefully it's going to get here in one piece, but it's not widely available like Abbey Rouge is. So it's a big yes from me, enough that I've ordered the bottle. I highly recommend it. It's a great flanker. That's all I've got. So I will be wearing it further, and when I get my bottle and get to test it properly, I'll do a proper review of Abbey Rouge Prive from Guerlain. And it's lovely to talk to you, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye.